Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to design our walls to get ready to actually start making our floor plan. So again, as we've been studying building information modeling, we kind of on the front end, we go ahead and put all the information into this file that we're going to create, this project, so that when we're at the end of it, we already have material lists and everything like that involved. We know exactly what's going into the building, and we can also design according to things like dimensions, fire ratings, moisture ratings, things like that. So let's don't get too complicated, and we're going to go to projects right here and select structural template. I'm sorry, I said structural template, but I meant architectural template. So click on architectural template, and we'll wait till that bell stops ringing there. Okay, now I want to start. First thing I want to do is I want to lay out my floor plan, so I need some walls to do that with. If you're on the, you should be on the architecture tab if you've just opened it up. But we're going to create a wall. Now there's different walls that you can select. Right now it's set for architectural wall, but just to show you, I'm going to click on the drop down and there's architectural wall. I can also go with a structural wall, which is pretty much going to be a structural wall for, say, like a basement or below grade type of structure. And then of course wall by face. I've never used that one, so I don't know what that one does exactly, but maybe we'll learn sometime this year. So really what I want is an architectural wall, and it loads the basic 8-inch wall into the selection there, but I want to change that. And what I want to change it to, because I'm going to edit whatever I put in there, I'm going to edit. So I want to make sure I put something in there that's very close to what it is I want to create. As you see, we have several different selections. We've got an exterior brick and a CMU on MTL stud, which stands for this is a brick wall with concrete masonry units. Okay, in other words, meaning that the interior of the wall is made of concrete, usually concrete blocks on metal studs. So beyond the concrete blocks, there are also metal studs that are holding this thing together. This one is just brick on concrete. Concrete masonry units. I forgot the word there briefly. But what I'm going to choose, let's see, looks like they got a few new ones in here that I haven't seen before, but it looks like I'm still going to go with my traditional brick on metal stud. Now the walls I'm building are not brick on metal stud. They are going to be brick on timber studs. So I'm going to have to edit this, and I'm going to have to do a lot of other editing as well while I'm in here. So pay very close attention to what I'm doing. Make sure you hit the pause button when you need to, like, maybe stop and go and actually perform the task that I'm doing. But I'm going to select the exterior brick on metal stud. Now because this is just the wall that I want to base my walls off of, I'm going to edit it. So right here there is a tab that says Edit Type. So I click on Edit Type and I get all of the editing information right here. Now I don't want to edit the wall that's already loaded in here. That is a wall that belongs to the software's content library. I want to keep it that way. I want to duplicate this for exterior. I'm going to keep all of that except for the brick on metal stud. So I'm just going to backspace here, brick on timber, and you can abbreviate that if you want to. So exterior brick on timber stud. All right. Now watch right here. When I click the OK button, this right here is going to change and let me know that I'm actually in that particular type, and I can start editing it, and I won't be editing the original. There we go. So now it says exterior brick on timber stud. That's what I want. Next thing I want to do is I want to edit that structure. Here is the structure line, and we click on Edit. And then we have all these different layers. These are all of our wall layers. This, where it says core boundary and then core boundary, you got two of them. One is on the interior side. See there it says interior side of the wall right there. Then the other one is on the exterior side. Here's the exterior side right there. So up here is the exterior, down here is the interior. Core boundary is where your structure is. That's where your timbers are. And that's the first thing I want to change because I know I want to change it. So I'm going to click on this button right there. And what I'm looking for is softwood lumber. All right. I want to edit this also because I want to put more specific information regarding my design into this project. So I'm on softwood lumber right now. What I'm going to put in there is going to be very similar to it. So I'm going to click on this little globe down here with the plus mark on it. Click on that, and I'm going to say duplicate selected material. And it creates a softwood lumber 1. You can rename that anything you want to. You can leave it softwood lumber 1. I'm going to make mine 2, so I'll know that that is the second softwood lumber that's in there. And then I'll start editing it further. So as long as this is lit up in blue, that means I am actually editing that one. And the only thing I need to edit right now is the identity. Okay. And in the identity, I would go and get my information as far as the manufacturer, the model, and any kind of other measurements or anything like that. Excuse me. I want to feed it into the computer here. So I'm going to go to manufacturer, and I'll show you the information that I get. Now you'll have to go back and get some of this information that you've already gathered, or from what you've already gathered. But the first is top choice. This is top choice lumber. So manufacturer is top. If I could type today. Top choice. Okay, model. Now if I go back to my material on that web page, there's model numbers here. There's 2 of them actually. One is an item number that is for the store itself. That is Lowe's item number. That's how they stock it in their inventory. And then there's also a model number from the company. This is the manufacturer's model number. That's the one that we want. We want to highlight that, copy it using a Control-C, and we're going to type it right, or just paste it right in there. Okay. Now cost is the next line. Cost. We'll go here and pull up our lumber again. Now this is $4.78 per piece, per timber, for each 2x4 10-foot long piece. Actual measurements being 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches by 10 foot. Okay, that's important information we're going to need here in a second. Right now for cost, I'm just going to put $4.78. Now you can get a better cost for this if you call Lowe's and actually get a quote for, say, by the pallet load, or have an idea of how much you're going to actually need, and then get a price quote for them. But we're not getting a price quote, so we're just going to use the price per number here that they give us, which is $4.78. So cost 4.78, and we're going to use the unit of each EA. Okay, and then we want to put the URL that we got our information from. Okay, and it's right up here. You just click on that, Control-C to copy, and then Control-V to paste. All right, now we're almost done. And this section right here says Revit annotation information. That's actually information that will show up on the plans, the drawing plans. And right now we don't have any information that needs to show up regarding this softwood lumber. But what we do want to do is go here to comments, and we're going to put the actual measurements. Actual dimensions. I think I spelled that right. And that is 1.5 inches, and you can use decimals here, by 3.5 inches by 10 foot. Okay, so now we got our dimensional information, in there. Graphics, we're going to leave it the way it is. We don't need to change. Appearance, we don't need to change that either. Physical and thermal, that is some information that would get plugged in based on the material that we're going to actually use. And usually it's based on manufacturer's information. They'll put out a specification chart on this particular product, and it will have all the information that you need to put into here. However, we're not going to mess with that. That is beyond this course's level. And I will actually allow the colleges to show you all the physical and thermal information, how to test for it, how to find it, how to determine that information. But that's what that is for. So that's even deeper information, but we're not going to go that far. We're just going to stick with the identity. All right, now I can click OK, and it will apply that. All right, now the next thing I want to do is change my thickness, because I know that it is the thickness that we're concerned with is how it's going to actually affect the width of the wall, the thickness of the wall itself. So it's going to be 3.5 inches, and I have double quotation marks there. I don't need that. All right, so it is structural material, 3.5 inches, and it is the highest priority material. That's what this 1 means right up next to structure. And that means that it will override any other priorities like priority 2, 3, or whatever when you start building your wall. Now the rest of this stuff, I won't show you exactly how to edit it. I'll just go over what they are. But you'll edit these other ones just like you edited the structure with the softwood lumber. Okay, you'll have to create a new material or copy the material and then call it something else and then put in its parameters that we're concerned with. Now, let's see, the selection for the exterior finish, we selected finish 1, which is a priority level number 4. It gets a higher priority than the interior finish, which is finish number 2, and priority level of number 5. So it would override any priorities regarding the interior dimension or interior material. So our finish, of course, is a brick common. And the size, you'll have to look up the size of your bricks that you have chosen. They're always going to be typically around 3 5/8 inches. Some of them might come, 3.5 or 3 7/8 or something like that. So that's where you would need to type in that information, just like I typed it in down here for that softwood lumber. We do want this to wrap, and what wraps does, you'll kind of learn what wraps do as you build your building, as you start your design. And basically what it does, it keeps there from being any open areas of where your wall might end. Instead of leaving it open, we wrap it around to close it up. Thermal air, that'll wrap. Membrane layer will not, and let's see, substrate will not. So we turn those two off. Now the membrane layer, this one is air infiltration barrier, and it's just an added layer for heat and cooling efficiency purposes or for insulation. I don't need that, not on the house. Okay, so I'm going to select that layer and I am going to delete it. Okay, and I'm going to actually replace it with something. I'm going to replace it with this one down here that's already on the inside of the core boundary. Okay, which you can do that. You can put another membrane layer on the interior, but we're not going to do it for this particular design. But to move that, I'm just going to click on that number 7 so it highlights the whole line, and I'm going to move it up. And I want it to be above the substrate. Okay, so that is that vapor retarder layer. You don't need to make any editing or changes to it at all whatsoever. It is a 0 thickness, but that is just like a tar paper or some other kind of paper that helps keep the home nice, dry, and comfortable. And we don't select wrap for that one. Substrate, now this is your plywood sheathing. This is the sheathing that you put on the side of your house. This one is set for 3/4 of an inch right over here, and that's the size I'm going to keep. However, I would go in and change the material and create a new material for it, because you'll probably have a different brand or some more branding type information, and make all those same changes, such as the manufacturer. You'll put notes on the dimensions inside of the little notes window or the comments window, and then you will put the price and all that stuff in there. Okay, I'm not going to show you that step by step on this one. I already showed you on this one. You just follow those same steps. Now, the core boundary, that's just something to indicate the difference between the outside and the inside part of the wall. Going to the inside part of the wall, we have a finish, which is a gypsum wallboard or drywall, or sheetrock, whichever you prefer to call it. This is standard gypsum that's already in here at 1/2 of an inch. And again, you'll go ahead and edit this one, actually edit it here, and change all of your, you'll duplicate it and then change all of your manufacturer information under the identity tab. Okay, so your comments on the measurements, cost per unit, manufacturer, model number, URL where you found the information. And that's basically how you design your wall. Now, if I click OK, everything stays in place, and I can start drawing walls. With the exception of one thing, I forgot to change. We'll go back into the edit window. Okay, back in the edit window here. I want to change default wrapping. Okay, right now it says all inserts do not wrap. An insert is actually like a window or a door that's being inserted into the wall. I do want it to wrap on the exterior side. I actually want it to wrap on the interior as well, so I'm going to put both. And where it says at ends, I'm going to put exterior, and we'll just kind of have to see the behaviors of this once we start looking at our model as it's being put together. We might need to come back and change that, but we'll approach that when we get there. Also, I should have taken the wraps off of the interior drywall, which it really doesn't matter. It's going to be wrapped anyway when it gets put together. But now we can click OK. Click OK again, and we can start drawing our walls. So for our exterior wall, just start laying it out like so. And it will have all the materials and behaviors that we just told it to have. There we go.